And I think if there's anything I wouldn't even say trying to do, but if there's anything I'm trying to reveal is that experience and to invite more people into it because otherwise I just don't see people getting much satisfaction from this life. And that's pretty sad too, you know? Like
Hmm.
just especially for people that don't have something to deal with that would make that satisfaction very difficult,
Hmm.
you know?
Yes, yes. It's it's for me, that's why these podcasts are planting the seed of co-creation. And co-creation is this being in the now and wholeness and giving and receiving with whom I'm sitting here and co-creating together. And that we can do anytime,
Yeah.
everywhere. And lately has happened to me when I think last week, I had a co-creation. I had an and I from really like here opening my heart. No, it feels it's not that I am opening my heart with the mind opening the heart. No, I'm open-hearted. So I had to go to the supermarket. I went to the supermarket and on the floor there was no one around. There were 50 euros. So that day I was able to pay my food with what the universe gave me because I
Right.
was flowing. No, I was in the now, and since I'm in the now, I'm seeing things around me. So I'm able to discover there's 50 euros on the floor. When you are walking and you're thinking, okay, I go to Superman, I have to buy this, you're not able to notice anything around you because you're somewhere else. You're not in the now. So yes, it's so nice to have you here, and I'm happy you're doing very well.
Thank you very much. It's a delight to be here. Thank you very
Yes.
much for the invitation.
No, no, always, always open for people like you that are so open-hearted and so beautiful. Your soul shines through when you write and on LinkedIn. That's where I met you, and also, well, with your podcast, with your show, and with the topics of your show.
Thank you very much. It feels very much that way when I write, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
I think sometimes if people are looking at it, they might ask, "What are you doing on LinkedIn?" or "What's the point of your posts?" Sometimes, and in the most friendly way, like people that might actually follow it. And I often just say, I don't know. Like I think if you feel connected to something, like if you feel connected to your soul, if you feel connected to some form of expression, I think it's just very nice to express it and see what happens.
Yes, and it's also this energy of flowing that you're flowing through your heart is also felt when you read it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you're so open-hearted and so, well, you just write the way you feel and it can be, it's perceived.
that's really wonderful to hear. It's it does, you know, I mentioned I think in a recent post that if it's not from that place I can feel it and it's nowhere near as satisfying.
Hmm.
And I think it's something to do with kind of thinking or when I take something that I've observed or noticed and if I try to make it mine, it feels a little too, it feels like it's detached from something. But when I just leave it as ours and acknowledge that it's there for anyone to see, it just feels, I don't know, it always feels really kind of effortless or flowy.
Yes, yes, it feels. And when I read you, it's also beautifully written, no? But it flows very nicely and it's from your heart. I can feel it. And I love that. And like now you're here with me and you are in your heart. And that's such a beautiful energy that is, well, we're connected wherever you are, wherever I am. And so it doesn't matter, I just met you. It doesn't matter, I'm the first time I'm talking to you. Because for me, I've known you because I'm connecting with you. So it's heart to heart, and hearts we know each other. So it's really a very nice presence.
That's a really beautiful way of putting it. I'm always stunned whether it's someone I meet in a coffee shop in my neighborhood, um, anywhere really, that if you're willing to just reveal your heart, like clearly you're very capable of doing as well, it it's not, and we haven't said anything deeply personal.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things that people mistake when, the way there's been this kind of push to be more vulnerable and things
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
And people feel they have to share these really intense things. And people can share really intense things and it still doesn't feel like it's from the heart anymore.
Mm.
So yeah, I think this is really something really gorgeous you're pointing at.
Yeah, yes, yes. I always say the vulnerability and the way they say it, it's marketing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
no? Because being in your heart, when you truly open your heart, it's because you are in your heart and you are in the now moment. So you really are not worrying about what you're sharing because it comes from the heart, where it's going to go because it comes from the heart. And so there's no worry around what you're saying because really you are in your heart, and whatever you say it with love, and you are giving part of who you are. Well, you're giving who you are, you're showing yourself as who you are to the other person. So, and that's not what it's said to be vulnerability, no? To be vulnerable. It's really more being who you are, and being who you are is being you in the now,
yeah,
no mind, no?
yeah.
This translation from the heart that the mind is serving so that it can express what it feels.
But this is I like the way you said kind of vulnerability is the way it's displayed sometimes or expressed or considered could be marketing. Because there's something about just expressing whatever is unfolding right now. There is a vulnerability to that in that but it's also like an aliveness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like I have, even the way you've started this, just a brief hello record, like,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then nothing discussed before, nothing
No.
discussed now, and it's genuinely just like, oh wow, where is this going? And the beauty of that is it doesn't give you much of a choice to be anywhere else. Like,
Mm-hmm,
of course, I could start responding with something that puts me right in my zone of like, oh, well, yes, you've mentioned something I did there, so I'll elaborate more on that. But there's just something lovely about sitting here and that aliveness that comes with it. And I really think we have no idea how much we've removed that aliveness from our lives, which I think is, I don't know, when you meet people um, that I kind of see sometimes as, I'm not trying to say us and them or anything like that, but just because it can happen at any moment, even for someone who I mightn't consider this about. But when you meet a living soul, there's just like I don't know, there's just an endless amount of energy in that
mm-hmm.
moment or between people, which is, to me, it's kind of staggering, to be honest, that we don't even talk about it or consider it even more.
Yes, yes, it's this joy of connection and this freedom, a huge freedom of being. Mm. So you're taking all these limitations away when you are in your heart and you are. So it's very liberating. And then since it's liberating, it's the connection is possible because the mind is not kicking in and limiting whatever it can limit, no? When we let it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
control.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's I don't know, there's something that I find really fascinating about just how much we let the mind take control and how much it takes us out of our hearts.
Mhm.
And even when we look around the world, and see where maybe a mind-led society might where it might be taking us, that even in those moments we still can't kind of go, we can't kind of rationalize our way out of our thinking. Do you know what I mean? So for me, this is what fills me with a huge optimism too. Like the idea that, well, if we just settled into our hearts a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
what might happen? And
Mm-hmm.
also just how might we perceive life right now? And, that can be in this very moment. It can also just be over the course of a day. Because I think when we do get to experience that, like whether that's the connection with ourselves, connections with other people, when we get to experience that, life takes on a very different quality.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes so much less about where I have to be, what I have to do, what milestones, what are my neighbors, my brother, my friends, what are they doing, what will they think? So much of that drops away when you actually have a felt experience of this life. And I think if there's anything I wouldn't even say trying to do, but if there's anything I'm trying to reveal is that experience and to invite more people into it, because otherwise I just don't see people getting much satisfaction from this life. And that's pretty sad too, Like
Mm-hmm.
just especially for people that don't have something to deal with that would make that satisfaction very difficult,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, yes. It's it's for me, that's why these podcasts are planting the seed of co-creation. And co-creation is this being in the now and wholeness and giving and receiving with whom I'm sitting here and co-creating together. And that we can do anytime,
Yeah,
everywhere. And lately has happened to me when I think last week, I had a co-creation. I had and I from really like here opening my heart. No, it feels. It's not that I am opening my heart with the mind opening the heart. No, I'm open-hearted. So I had to go to the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, and on the floor there was no one around. There were 50 euros. So that day I was able to pay my food with what the universe gave me because I
right.
was flowing. No, I was in the now, and since I'm in the now, I'm seeing things around me. So I'm able to discover there's 50 euros on the floor. When you are walking and you're thinking, okay, I go to Superman, I have to buy this, you're not able to notice anything around you because you're somewhere else. You're not in the now. No? So this type of experiences come up when you allow yourself to be and to share openly. Yesterday, I was in the city crossing a street, and someone comes. It was raining, and someone comes with 3 books. And he says, "You want a book?" And I said, You're an author?" "Yes, you want one of my books?" And he had a children's book and another book. So I took the other book. He gave me the other book, and during the day, my mom had told me to buy a book for my godchild. Okay. So this guy says, I have also a book for a child. And well, he gifted it to me,
Right.
so life becomes alive, joyful, and full of gifts and surprises when you are living from the heart everywhere and in every moment. It's very beautiful, no?
Yeah.
Because you're aligning to who you are. You're aligning to what you love to create. Because at the end, what we love to create is who we are. Is expressing who we are to the world. Because I'm unique. You are unique, and as you are unique, I'm learning from you. No, and I'm growing with you. You're gifting it to me because I'm here with you in the now. So I'm receiving. So it's just magical. I love that.
When did you, just out of interest, like what was it for you? Was this a state of being for as long as you can remember? Is this something that presented itself to you, or what was your kind of revealing of this to you?
Yeah, it's I think it's my evolution because
Right.
I've been always a giver, much of a giver. And I lost myself many years ago. And one day I decided to redo my life. And then that's why I moved from New York to Barcelona. And but there, that's 20 years ago. I still wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I had a social enterprise, I had a community, and well, in the community, I learned to, I was showing how to observe yourself in conversations, listening, not to the people that were in the community. It was with COVID, but many things in life have happened to me that I've acknowledged and I've learned from it. And today I am who I am. And before, also with COVID, I was saying, I'm daring to be who I am. No, and I'm showing
Right.
everyone's to dare. But in the daring, there's fear. But through this exploration, experiencing, and practicing to be who you are, and then observing, like we were saying before, the mind, what it talks, or how you feel, um, you peel off like an onion. There's still
Yeah.
a lot to peel off, but like an onion. And today I am who I am, not daring. I'm not in fear, and I don't feel the unknown. I love it. I'm here, and so I'm just peeling off, I think, and getting closer to what is for me to be here, which I don't know. No, but it has been an evolution, constant evolution. Many things happening, experiences that I have integrated and I have adapted. I have learned triggers, no, and so many things
Yeah.
that I think in life, if we listen to those things and we really observe ourselves, and it has everything takes commitment and effort. But if you want, I mean, if you are committed, if you have an intention to become who you are, we become who we are one day.
Yeah, but this is I love the way you describe it, just by the way. The onion analogy works really well, I think, because I think too much of what we're trying to become is an idea of something else that's been presented to us. So, I couldn't possibly enjoy my being if I either haven't got the job, if I haven't lost some weight, if I haven't got the perfect partner, whatever it might be. There's this idea that our life or what we're becoming is so focused on everything around us, and it's left us with this basic template that people end up just ticking boxes as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
paying attention.
True.
And for me, it's 100% that feeling of like letting go of things more, like
Mm-hmm.
letting go of notions of who I ought to be and just paying attention to what is here. And that really has, I think, staggering implications in terms of our relationship with ourselves, like in terms of our own internal dialogue, in terms of how we perceive this life. Like even the sense there what you said about the whether it was the author giving you books or what you found in the supermarket, life then it almost becomes, I think, when we're in some state with ourselves, life itself ends up becoming this kind of interaction, this relationship,
Mm-hmm.
this dance, this
Yeah.
conversation. Like it starts moving, and it's not, that I'm just a chemical reaction and I'm here because there was a big bang and everything is just happening in a determined
Yeah.
fashion. It stops being that. And I don't know about you, but for me, that it doesn't make me stop feeling pain or suffering, like in all of these things, right?
No.
But what it does do is, even in those moments, there is some it's not even like it's not even a mental intention. Like there's just some sense that there's just more to this life, that there's parts of it that I don't understand. There's like almost like a poetry in the pain. There's something about it because if you keep paying attention, right, like you're going to have noticed moments, like whether it was coming from New York to Barcelona, like you're going to have noticed moments where maybe there was difficulty.
Oh,
Like for
yes.
me, do you know what I mean? And then you get to a point where you're like, oh wow, that happened, and look, and maybe it even brought me closer to myself.
Hmm.
Like not in the sense of like, oh, turn that frown upside down, or there's a silver lining on every cloud. It's just maybe those are the things that actually force us to let go of something that's causing us kind of immense pain or resistance, or like life is an obstacle we have to fight with or get through. So yeah, I love that description.
Yeah, yes. No, no, it's true. In that moment, I was feeling very much pain, lots of pain. And but I knew it was the right thing for me and my ex-husband. It was the right thing. So, and that voice, it's the first time I really listened to that voice. And that voice is the one that led me to Barcelona. It wasn't my mind thinking to go to Barcelona. I just was intuitively 2 months or so flowing and choosing and letting me being guided wherever I had to go because I knew I had to do it. I just didn't know where and how, but it happened. I was flowing in a way that when I look back, I said, what am I doing here? What
Right.
am I doing here now? And I wrote down, and I had about 20 synchronicities, why I was there in that moment. And I said, okay, I understand. I have to be here.
I obviously, maybe you're aware I've interviewed like over 250 people around the question of what is a good life. And in so many of these interviews, a moment or a voice comes up. And so I can never resist to ask people, like, could you describe what that was? Like, could you describe how it felt? Because this is something I might do even some research on myself, I think specifically on moments like these, because I just find it fascinating. Like, I think I've had some moments like this in my life too, and there's just something, I think just they're integral to that feeling or that sense of becoming who we are. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, there's something about these moments that they just really, they're so often ignored and stamped out,
Mhm.
and, some clever thinking is put over the top of it, and so we resist it. But I have a very strong inclination that these are essential. Like these are
Mhm.
invitations. So I'm just curious as to even what the physical sensation was or the mental experience, however you describe it.
Yes, but I had two experiences like that. That one in this pain of it was more I have it, it was not a one time voice. It was a really flowing with this knowing, with this force inside of me. That's why I say it's the heart. No, there was the knowing. It's difficult to explain the knowing
Yeah,
because you have to experience the knowing to know that you know. No, it's not in your mind. It's a knowing that it's above everything, above your mind, and it's something that you know is true, and then you follow. And actually, I just changed. Well, I left my job, and because of a knowing. But it's a knowing, no? Because
yeah,
when you align to yourself, it's a knowing, so you follow. But well, the second time I heard, and there I heard a voice, and it was I swim, and it was after the showering, and I was there, and my family there was someone sick at that moment, and they needed lots of recovery, and I was asking, please make him make the treatment work, make the treatment work.
right.
And then in my mind I said, you don't have to ask. you just have to be grateful that it already has happened.
Hmm.
Okay. And when I said that, I had like an energy, but it could be myself, but an energy saying it's done. But with such a love and with this energy beyond that it was so joyful that made me cry because of joy. And I knew. So there are different ways, I guess, of this knowing. And yes, and for me, that's why one thing I always say, it's not we are love and we are this oneness and we have, well, we are connected to this source and we are source and we have all this information. Just let's hear it, no,
Yeah.
and let yourself be guided with what comes well, because when it comes, and then you are here just in service of something bigger than yourself. So you just flow with, respond to it with what is to be done, no matter where you are.
This is, I think this is one of the great joys in life to
Mm-hmm.
respond to that
Yes.
because it is like starting strange way. I've never said it like this or thought about it, but maybe it's like a strange way of developing that relationship with this wisdom in us, this
Mm-hmm.
lived wisdom in our bones and in our body.
Yes.
And without it, life, like, because if life is just in the mind, like life will be suffering. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it will literally be all the things that you don't have. It will be responding to every time someone said something that slightly annoyed you, that you've kept a hold of, that you keep repeating in your mind, all of these
Mm.
things. And now that I'm just thinking about the way you described those experiences and thinking about some in my own life as well, it almost offers a whole new way of engaging with life, but a whole like it actually offers me into the place of being. Like because I can't make sense of some of the things that I've done because of either this voice or, I couldn't make sense of it rationally, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I had I had an experience where I couldn't make sense of it when it happened, and I ended up proposing to my wife after 5 weeks when I met her in India. And thankfully that's 9 years ago, so that sounds a bit better now. But but in the moment, I absolutely felt that it's not an image or anything. When I experience a feeling like this, it's not an
Mm-hmm.
image that I get.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't leave me any instructions other than it might leave me a very clear instruction with the very first step that I have to take.
Yes.
But beyond that, there's nothing else. And so, a bit like yourself, if it was another example of leaving a job, it didn't say anything else. It didn't say what I was going to be, what I was going to do, and how I would do it. It just said kind of time to go.
It's time to go.
Leave now.
And
Maybe if it says anything, you will suffer if you don't take this,
yes,
if you
yes,
don't take this advice or if you don't take this sign.
yes. And it's in this case, it's not a voice per se, it's a knowing.
Yeah.
No, it's your
Yeah.
guide, your heart is guiding you. It's this source that is guiding you, that it's time to leave. And when I said and I resigned that day, I still didn't have um, another opportunity, no?
Yeah.
It came just afterward. I didn't ask for any. I didn't place CVs and everything, and it came, and it's an amazing opportunity where I am, well, doing this true leadership also in a business where I'm now the director, and so I can manage the business. I can lead it the way I think it has to be led, no, with co-creation, love, uniqueness, and co-creation for everyone. So a big opportunity, not work at all for me. I don't feel it like that because it's who I am and what I love to create, and I'm doing it also there. Like I'm here co-creating with you, so I'm co-creating with them and the business. No? So that's why it's so nice to to be everywhere, to be who you are and create what you love everywhere, at work, everywhere, wherever you can, because that's you.
Th- this is huge, I think. And look, people can have all sorts of reasons as to why they have to stay in a job, and there
Yeah,
can be real life pressures. So I'm not saying
yeah,
everyone can do what they want.
yeah.
And I also know, just like, I worked in finance before. I've worked in banking where there was lots of politics and there was expectations around how one might behave in a certain circumstance or with a client or whatever it might be. I think we have no idea how much we lose of ourselves when we're just fully taking on the culture of another institution,
Hmm.
another group of people. It doesn't mean that people are bad people or anything like
No,
that, but
no.
if it's just not yourself and they're not your own values, and I don't even really mean values in a really like mental idea. Here are my top five values, and I'm going to
Yeah,
try and live these perfectly. That's not the way I
no,
feel
no.
values. I feel values in a way, basically, did that choice align with
Hmm.
me or did it make my heart hurt? And I mean that quite literally. Did it make my heart hurt? And I think if people could create a little bit more space in their lives, even just to become aware of the moments where their heart hurt because of something that they did, and, something that may feel out of their control in work, just simple stuff like the way we present ourselves to each other. Like,
Hmm.
I remember in a role I had before, my last role in a financial role when I left, and the people that are leaving were asking me would I help find a replacement. And there were people applying for my role who, based on their CVs, they shouldn't have been applying for my role. They should have been like, well, they would have been a multi-millionaire anyway, based on what they were saying and how much money they raised and what they did before.
Hmm.
But they should have been a CEO of something. And when I'd ask them about this, they're like, no, this job feels right for me right now. And we get so used to just inflating ourselves.
Yeah.
And, just even when I took a sabbatical when I was 31, I went to India for 3.5 months. And to be honest, one of the big motivators for doing that, of course, I could say, oh, yeah, my meditation and blah, blah, blah. I wanted the space if someone asked me how I was doing and it was a particularly difficult day, I just wanted the space to go, oh, today is tough.
Hmm.
I'm feeling it. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling something. Whereas I found I would have thought in a client facing role or just in the normal corporate structures, you don't really get a chance to say that. And I'm not saying that they're even the place to hold that. Like, I think just in general in
Yeah.
life anyway, even people with some of their more intimate relationships probably wouldn't say that.
Hmm.
But especially I think if we're trying to figure out who we are, and that's not easy anyway, right? Like there's you talk about taking off these layers of an onion. There's lots of moments within
Oh,
that where it's just like, oh my God. Like there might be moments where I have to reflect on my own behavior and go, oh, did I
yes, yes.
say that? Did I behave like that? Do I have
Many,
to
many.
say something to that person? There's so many experiences like that I think it's not an easy task anyway, but it's an even harder task when we're trying to create or hold on to an image of ourselves, whether that's the work version of ourselves, the version of who I am with my parents, my partner, my friends. I'm not saying authenticity or sincerity in this really fixed notion of it. Like, I'm obviously going to be a different person in a library than I am
Mm.
watching a football match or something.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, but it's more is right now a sincere expression of somewhat of what I'm thinking, feeling, or noticing. Like,
Yeah.
can I be sincere within the context that I'm in? And I think that's something that I think the wider society is suffering a lot with. There's a lack of sincerity in many ways, and there's so many ways in which I don't know, we've suddenly made acceptable, maybe because it makes people money, maybe because it gets them power, and then we say, okay, well, that's the template or that's the roadmap. But I don't know, I'm more interested in noticing how do the people that seem to be, I don't know, fully connected to themselves, like what's their code or what's their approach? Like the people that seem like they're engaged with this life, or they seem like they're alive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's amazing how often we could walk down the street and you might actually, some people might just ask you randomly, like, why are you smiling? Like it's a strange thing that like we might wonder why someone is smiling, you know, but we don't ask why someone might have a stressed look on their face or look a bit anxious. Like I think we kind of have a pretty good idea why that might be the case, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true, true. Yes, yes. It's like you were saying, I was reminding myself of one of my team members. Um, I always have every 2 weeks conversations with them because I sit down and listen to them, and I see who they are, no, and where they fit in the organization with what they love to create, and I move them around. And I remember one of the guys who was a junior. He was saying, I said, but why don't you say those things? Why don't you do the jokes?
Yeah.
Because you are someone that jokes a lot. Why are you holding your back? And he said, I'm not used to, because then the last work I had, I was told not to joke, and I was told not to be, and not to say certain things. And I said, okay, this was last. In this one, you are who you are. And I want you to express yourself fully, because we all here want you to be who you are, no? And
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that, you will give more, you will be more motivated, will love to be here, because your work is your life. At the end, you're 8 hours here, so enjoy it. But yes, it really, I was saying, wow, incredible, no? How work environments are just cornering you in one place and not really taking advantage of all your being to
Yeah.
create and to thrive and to grow, also
Because
the business.
what you said there, this is something I just don't understand.
Mhm.
I like either just more transparency with just saying what we're actually really doing and not the pretending. So there's this kind of,
Mhm.
I see a lot of energy just get sapped because we're pretending that we're this, but we're behaving like this, and we're still saying these are our values. So that's one aspect of
Yeah.
it. But just for the opportunity miss that you've pointed out there, like if people can feel comfortable being themselves, and like with that too, there'll come arguments and there'll become
Yeah.
conflict. You know, like Jesus, even if we look at our closest, most wonderful
Yeah.
relationship,
Yes.
there can be this, right?
Yes.
So it's not some fluffy version of this. But if you want people to feel energized, because look, not every company, like if you look at so many companies that are in existence, it's not like they're all doing divine work, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, you can try and bring in a consultant to say, can you give us a great purpose? And so we can and people know if a purpose is manufactured or not. But man, every business is made up of people.
Hmm. Hmm.
And if you can get people connected to their humanity, like what an energy source. Like you know it too. Like we both experienced at the start of this conversation. When you're in a moment where you feel someone is just being themselves with you, where they're just being, they'll be different from you, of course, but they're being that expression of humanity in front of you. Like it's such an invitation. It's a place where you want to be, you know? And so in lieu of trying to make every business seem the most purpose-driven thing in the world, why don't you just let people be? Like,
Hmm.
and then what a place that would be, because a lot of people, you know, we mentioned the workplace, but they are a different person with their friends than they are with their partner, than they are with their parents, than they are with their in-laws. Like if you can actually, it almost feels like that would be an oasis to me, like in the
Hmm.
desert. Like if you can imagine you could create a place where people would actually want to come into work because they could just get to be themselves. They don't have the constant nonsense of pretending. Like it's in some of the work that either I've done and I've also facilitated some work with a friend. a friend of mine, Jindy Manny, runs these men's group under this organization called Leader Brother Son. I helped him out with one cohort. It's not something I did regularly, but I always remember one person, one guy in the group saying he almost looks forward to this session was on a Wednesday because it's almost like a relief, a release. Like
Mm,
he doesn't have to pretend. And whether it's silent groups or conversations or dialogues I host, like I see that people say that too, like, this feels like a breath of fresh air, or this feels like a break. Like, because just like, if you ever sit in a forest or you sit someplace where you're not distracted by any screens, there's nothing. I think we can almost feel like our brain and our being regenerating itself when we just get to come into contact with the moment. Like, I can feel like some of this feels like balm or like medicine for the soul.
mhm.
And so, yeah, I love what you're saying there, just about just let yourself be and you'll get the best out of people that way, you know?
Yeah, yes. It's very it changes everything. Changes the environment, the culture, them. Because at the end, and what you were saying, it's people are used to live outside in. No? That's where I was also. And
Mm.
you were, I guess.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we always outside in. No, mom saying, don't behave like this. Look at what they're saying. Don't say this because no, at school and everywhere. So when you start making the change and from the inside out, you have limitless energy because you are in joy all the time, no? And much when you are consciously in your heart and from there expressing and being wherever you are, you change your environment because it's you. No, you change. We are creators. And yes, now I understand when we are told you are a creator. Yes, you are a creator because when you live from the inside out, you are creating all the time. So, and you are positively impacting your surrounding. It doesn't matter um, for you how people will react because number one, you trust you're doing the best you can because you do it from the heart, no? And then number two, you don't care because the mind is not there ruminating, no? So you really are in another frequency, in another moment, in another space where you are radiating this energy out. And then you can be quiet, no? Like your silent groups and when they come together, which I'm looking forward.
Yeah.
And but it's just being like that, and you're in your heart. You don't have to say anything. You just when you are, not like, or when you're like you were saying, walking around with a smile because you're in your heart. So you really are radiating something that it plants a seed in the people because it's a different way of being.
This is um this is absolutely something I almost think is tangible. Like
Mm,
the word radiating, I think is very applicable here. And it makes me think of around Christmas time. My daughter's 18 months now, so she would have been around 15 months then. We went into Hamburg City, just here in Germany. I'm in Berlin at the moment.
mm,
And there was a guy who got onto the train. And the moment he got on it, we were just spending a day in town in the city center together. And the moment he got on, he was just a stranger. I just knew straight away he wasn't going to wait to engage with my daughter. Like he was a few seats
mm,
away, but
mm.
I just knew he just looked alive. And then within a few minutes, he's like playing little games of like peekaboo behind his hands. And do you know, but like a lot of, because like I see with a lot of people, I have a dog and a young daughter, and I see there really are invitations or portals. Like look at how people
Yeah,
respond to dogs if they love dogs. Like
yes,
they never treat a human like that. Like it's just another ordinary human. Do you know what I
yes,
mean? Like, that never you never just go up to someone in a cafe and just go, "Do you mind if I pet you?" or like
Yeah.
just like make lovey eyes at you, you know?
No.
And the same with the young kids as well. So I think they almost remind us what's possible and what's possible if you are connected into your heart or if you've got some sort of sense of perception of perceiving if somebody else is there. Because it just it opens up just new possibilities straight away. Like, and you know, I've had these experiences where I've said hello to people for a time and I just passing on the street. And
Hmm.
then the first time we ever chat, like we really actually stop and chat because we've said hello or just because we've recognized something in each other, the conversations have just dropped into like, woof. Do you know what I mean? Like right into like some of the deepest
Yes.
contemplations. And once again, look, some vulnerabilities or some trauma may be shared at some point, might be, but they may not be either. And there's just this depth and this intimacy. Like the intimacy thing I find fascinating. Like I think this is one thing that we kind of have all wrong. That intimacy is something that we build up to. You have to know somebody a certain amount of time. Intimacy, I think, is just this feeling of trust in each other, like
Hmm.
this revealing of what's happening right now. And that I think it can come in the most subtle little shares. And but as long as they feel like they're from now, and as long as it does reveal something to us, it just brings us so close together. And just like you were saying with vulnerability at the start, it's intimacy is not the way I think we think it is.
No.
Just like just like love isn't the way we think it is. Like I think, you've interviewed Colin Smith, right?
Hmm. Many
I
times.
think,
It's a
yeah,
friend of
yeah.
mine. I
I
do
think
it.
I think I've discovered his work through seeing a post of
Mm.
yours or something. So Colin's become a good friend at this
Yes.
point.
It's a
And,
lovely.
and we were both describing that act of paying deep attention to someone, really listening, and there being some felt sense of love in that.
Hmm.
Do you know, like this is not the idea that love is only something that you give to your friends or your partner or your parents or your children, I think misses the point. It misses the possibility of it.
Yes. For me, what they say love is also marketing. It's the same.
It's so true, yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. There are certain words that they are banalized
Yeah,
because they are so powerful in what they are. When you know what they are, the love that encompasses everything, is oneness, is beyond this superficial love of relationships. No, love is everywhere, and love is you, love is me, and we are in love
yeah,
now because we are connected and we are being that honest and in the moment open, intimate. Yes, we're intimate because I don't have anything to hide with
yeah,
you. I don't have to lie. I don't have to adjust myself with my mask to show myself to you in a certain way. So I'm intimate with you because I am who I am. I'm showing myself like I
yeah,
am in this moment. No? And that is embraced by love. Everything is love, no? And the connection, you and me, you are in Berlin, I'm in Barcelona, I'm connected with you, I'm sitting next to you. I'm not sitting so and so many kilometers away or miles, you know. I'm here with you.
this this I think is quite fascinating though. And when I started these silent conversations, people would comment about how they feel like they're in the room with everyone else, with a group of strangers that they've just met. And there's been many references to that. And I agree with you. Like I definitely don't get the feeling right now that I'm on a laptop on Zoom. I'm
Mhm.
aware that these are tools that are used to connect, but it doesn't limit the capacity for connection, which opens up a lot of wonderful thoughts in my head about us being energy. You know, I know everything is energy, but also just in a really felt sense of that. Like what is it that allows me to connect with someone thousands of miles away,
Mhm.
physically speaking? And yet it doesn't feel like that has taken anything away from the interaction or the connection. Like these are really not observations to be thought about, but to actually feel that, like that
Mhm.
makes me kind of go, what the hell does that mean? Like, what
Mhm.
the hell does that mean about this reality? Like, and I've experienced different states of consciousness, and whether it's through meditative practices, whether it's with psychedelics, whatever. Like, I've experienced altered states where my mind can't rationalize it. But the more I go through this life and the more I pay attention, I experience subtle moments, really profound moments that my mind can't rationalize. And
Mhm.
it's not predicated on any kind of altered state. It's just life right here, right now.
Yes, yes. It's so beautiful. I love it. It's so magical. So perfect. I love it. Well, Mark, I really appreciate to be here with you, to have shared this moment with you, to connect with you, to be next to you. And and I'm looking forward also to be in your conversations. So but thank you so much. Thank you so much for being who you are and creating what you love, because it really shows and it really impacts and it really resonates and it makes me know I know you.
Look, thank you so much for this invitation, for this kind of like portal into something else today. Do you know what I mean? Like, just it's
Yes.
really like it's a Monday. I'm just looking at the time here, 20 past 4 on a Monday in Berlin. And if it's amazing what these conversations can do. Like it really, it's staggering, I think, when I meet someone as clearly as open-hearted and as present with the conversation as you've been. And yeah, I'm just very, very grateful. I had no idea what this would be, how it would go, and I've absolutely adored it.
Thank you so much for co-creating with me.
My pleasure.